Alright, now we're moving along with the prequel, sequel, prequel. Oh god, shut up. The reason I'm being a doodoo head about it is because this movie takes place before the events of the first film and after the events of the first film. The boy Mika's in it before, you know. Oh god, stop it. So it's great seeing him again. This film follows up on Katie's sister, Christy. Katie and Christy, I like that pair of names. And they love each other to death. That's sweet. Instead of focusing on a couple, this movie focuses on a family and a nanny, and it would throughout the series with kids and you know the gist. Well, I already hate that it's not just a couple this time, but they had to up the ante, so I guess it's exceptional. Christy just gave birth to her son Hunter and is married to a guy named Daniel who looks like a tough SOB, but is just as silly as Mika.
There can be only one!
He got divorced and had a daughter named Allie in first marriage, but Allie and Christy love each other. They have a dog, cause there's always a dog in a horror movie, and a nanny who is super religious and knows what's going on later in the film, but soon leaves, so she is kind of useless. The family is robbed in the beginning, but when we find out that Hunter's room was not touched, we know something is going on. This film follows the same technique as the first film with cameras set around the house after the so-called robbery, and we hear things going on. It ups the ante a little bit because this time they add more scares and more, gotcha, I gotcha, didn't I, kind of scares, and, oh, it's just a dog. You get it. It kind of takes away what made the first one so good. It almost becomes like a ghost hunter show towards the end with Christy being possessed by an evil spirit like Katie, but this time they give an explanation, and with the nanny being super religious, they add exorcisms and religion outtakes to try and stop the demon and offer more of what's happening. They had some cool backstory of someone possessed in the first film, and that was cool, like something happened back then that we'll never see. Well, Daniel does the shittiest thing ever. The only way to stop the demon from possessing Christy is to put the demon into Katie, and that'll solve everything, right? Well, Daniel goes through with it like a jackass, even though Allie forbids him not to, and Katie and Christy have no relatives. We'll get to that too. So they have no choice but to possess it onto Katie. Wow. Before that happens, Christy becomes a bitch towards Allie and never leaves Hunter's sight until she chills in the bedroom just staring blankly at the wall, and she attacks Daniel, and that's when it becomes like a ghost hunter show, cause now they gotta find Christy, and they cheap you on scares. Then something happens that restores Christy. I guess Daniel pointed a cross at her. Funny ending. We also get another funny-ass death in this movie. Not as funny as Mika's, but up there. After everything that happened, Daniel, the tough SOB who went through a lot of shit to save his wife, well, this is what happens to him. And he's dead. Just like that. And he stubs his face into the pillow in a weird-ass, awkward, dead position, and he leaps up when he gets his neck snapped. Look at that! He jumps when he gets his neck snapped. Hilarious. Then Katie kills Christy by simply putting a hand on her, and she falls in front of the camera. Again, not as funny as Mika's. Mika's the champion. Then Katie abducts Hunter, and Allie finds the bodies during the epilogue, and Katie's whereabouts remain unknown, again. And that's Paranormal Activity 2! It's definitely not as good as the first. It does things that the first didn't need to do, and what made it great in the first place. Upping the ante didn't help it, but it does have its moments, like when Katie's watching Daniel watch TV at the end. She's barely noticeable, and if you didn't notice her, it just looks like that she comes out of nowhere and snaps his neck and he leaps up in the air for whatever reason. Second in the franchise, not the best, not the worst, it falls somewhere in between. There's rights, there's wrongs, and there's number 3 coming at ya.